hello everyone, and welcome to Mary Giuliani Live. Happy Wednesday night. I am really excited about our show tonight. We have Therese Tucker, who has an amazing gift at helping you discover and align with your soul's purpose. So we've got Therese waiting in our virtual green room, so hang on for Therese. Also, if you would like to make sure that you know of the guests that are coming up and that sort of thing, you've got to get on my mailing list. So if you just go up to my website, Mary Giuliani, actually up to the sign up for the newsletter, make sure you get your name and email in there, and I'll not only inform you once a week of the different guests that are coming up, but you'll also get a link for the audio and the video version of the show. So if you're on the go, you can listen, or if you want to watch the whole thing in video, you can do that too. For those that have iTunes, make sure that you sign up for my iTunes channel, Mary Giuliani Live, and you can get the show automatically downloaded into your cell phone. So for the new people, the purpose of this show is really all about transformation. And I love being in the conversation of transformation, so I thought, why not have a show? Because this is what I do anyway all day long with all of my friends, and why not share this wonderful wisdom on a global level? And so here we are with live streaming, and we can do it. So that's what's so cool about it. 30 years ago was when I started really throwing myself into personal growth groups and reading a lot of different books and putting myself in environments with people that were really going for it in their lives and really stretching, and that's when things really started shifting for me. So I love providing that kind of environment for you guys. So with that, the wonderful thing about live stream is that we can actually field questions for my guests in real time. So right next to the live stream box is the chat app, and all you have to do is log in, and you can ask Therese or me questions throughout the show, so make sure you do that as well. What else? Let's see. What do we say about Therese here? Boy, she's got so many wonderful things going on. Excuse me, my headset's coming out here. Therese Tucker is a psychic channel, a medium, an intuitive artist, an empathic intuitive, as well as an interpreter of light language and healing. And she uses these skills to help create positive transformation in people's lives. So with that, let's introduce and welcome Therese. Hey, Therese, good to see you.
Hi, Mary. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so glad you made it. I was just, we were talking before the show, and I'm like, you look like a famous person. It's like, yep, Kate Winslet, or who was the other one?
Sometimes Kate Hudson, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
The Kates.
So, yeah, the Kates. Well, anyway, yes, thank you for being here. Finding your soul's purpose is like, I don't even know if there's anything more important than that in your life, really. And so, right. But before we get into that topic, I just thought it'd be fun to kind of get a feel for, your journey up until you got in touch with your soul's purpose. So maybe you can give us a little bit of a background on you.
On me, okay. This is interesting because I get asked this question a lot. People want to know, how did I know? When did I know that I was psychic or intuitive? And I don't have the exciting answer that a lot of psychics out there have, right? That they had these, they were born with it. They always knew, and it was very strong and extraordinary. For me, and I think for most people, because my belief is that we all have these abilities.
Yes.
Many times they stay dormant or latent in people, but we all have them.
Right.
From a young age, from the age of 3 that I can remember, I do remember seeing beings. I do remember I would talk to fairies. That's what I would call it. Yes. Cool. Oh, yeah. In my grandmother's backyard. I didn't think of it as extraordinary or different. Mm-hmm. So I didn't note that in my brain, right? It was just me doing my thing. And, but I've always been attracted to spirituality, spiritual teachings. And growing up, I was very lucky. My mom was interested in those things, and I was naturally interested in what she was following. And I remember at about the age of 15 or 16, she started listening to Marianne Williamson lectures. And
Ooh.
I fell in love, deeply in love with A Course in Miracles and her work, and stayed with that
Mm-hmm.
for a long time in my life. And yet I was having experiences like, for example, I would have beings coming at night,
Oh,
and I'd
wow.
go into physical paralysis, which I hated that experience, and it
Mm-hmm.
was very scary, which whatever was going on there. And it was so prevalent in my life that I had to shut it off. I didn't know what to do with it. I
Wow.
didn't have anyone to ask what was happening. And many times in my life growing up, and maybe some of your listeners will recognize this, but I was told that I have a really amazing imagination. My
Right.
imagination was really strong and colorful, and that's kind of how
Yeah.
people would write off my experiences. And so, without any guidance or training, I decided to buffer it and just kind of ignore it and suppress these intuitive and otherworldly experiences I was having.
Right.
And it stayed that way until about, I would say, through my early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
I actually went to college for acting. So I was a
Mm-hmm.
theatrical actress.
Yes.
And ironically, a lot of the training I received at the college level on acting actually works well with intuitive work, because you
Yes.
actually have to access these inner parts of
Yes.
yourself.
Yes.
So it woke back up and went, well, hello, here I am. And I realized there was also a desire in me that as soon as I turned it off, I felt like something was missing.
Yes.
And I kept feeling like I need this in my life. And
Mm-hmm.
so I would read lots of books,
Mm-hmm.
and I would go to lots of people,
Mm-hmm.
and yet kept felt like there was a hole that was still not being filled.
Interesting.
Um,
So,
yeah. So
so,
if you,
oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Well, are you saying though, even though you were heavily into your own spiritual growth and personal growth, it still felt like there was a hole because you weren't really deeply accessing your more intuitive sort of connection to spirit?
I kept putting spirit outside of myself. I kept
Ah,
externalizing it.
okay.
So that person had the information. That book
Right.
had the
Right.
information. This technique has the information.
Right.
I was not looking inward, and so
Right.
therefore it was not sustaining me or fulfilling me.
Right. Right. That's so right on. And how old were you when you got turned on to Marianne Williamson?
15.
Oh my God, that's so awesome. I was like, I think 29 or something. So yeah, wow, what a gift to get that level of consciousness, be exposed to that. And then how many years after that did you really get that you needed to go within for your connection to spirit?
It it wasn't really until 2008, I would say.
Okay.
So I was right before I had my daughter.
Okay.
I had what I like to call the activation started happening, the light worker activation, which is
Yeah.
being barraged by numbers. So the number
Oh,
sequences, like
okay.
1111, every time I look at the clock,
Yeah.
444, 333, 111, it's just
It's like,
the
hello.
barrage.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was not aware of what that meant at the time. Now I know what it means. At the time, I was like, what is happening? Like, why am I seeing this? And when people ask me about it, my take on it is this is your light worker activation. It means, hello, the universe has kind of flipped a switch, and it's time for you to wake up to your truth of who
Wow.
you are.
Okay, cool. So then that's really good information for people that are noticing all of these number sequences. I would
Yes.
imagine that it's not the only sort of coincidence or synchronicity that shows up.
No, no. So a lot of things would be I'm clairaudient. It's one of my dominant senses. So music speaks to me a lot. So it would be weird things like the radio turning on by itself, or
Yeah,
my phone playing music by itself without me touching it. And it would be a
right.
song that would be answering an internal question.
Wow.
So I have a lot of electronical phenomena that happens around me. My guides use my phone
Uh-huh.
to confirm and answer things for me a lot, which is fun.
Wow.
But let me just be clear that just because I started seeing the sequences, I did not know what it meant. I still didn't activate. So I was aware that something was different, but
Right.
I was not tuning into myself. And it really wasn't until I went through my first childbirth, and I had these, normal moments, like my having my first child activated me into why I needed to focus on self-love. And she was a
Okay.
great reason for me to understand that. And then my
Cool.
second child really activated in me the need to pursue my soul purpose. So
Oh,
my
wow.
kids are great catalysts in my life
Yeah.
because I wasn't getting it on my own. Okay.
Interesting how other people or children can really do that for us. Yeah.
Yeah. And it wasn't so 2014 I was I had just had my son. There was a lot of complications from the surgery, and I was barely working.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was not feeling well, my husband could barely work, and we ended up being evicted from our home.
Oh my
And
God.
that was the moment. That was the moment that I decided to look inside. So again, it took another big catalyst to get me to go, wait a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, the breakdown to the breakthrough, but at least you got it, And so you
Yes.
got evicted, and so what what were the steps that you took to get you
Oh,
tapped in,
yeah.
tuned in, turned on?
Yes. So thankfully, before all that happened, I had gotten connected to my soul tribe. So these are people who, come into your life who are the closest vibrational match to you.
Yeah. Yep.
And I have to say that if you're going to be brave and really allow your soul purpose to come through, you need your tribe.
Oh God,
You
yes.
you need a tribe. It takes a village, and that's not a joke, right? That's not just a saying, it's a
Well,
truism.
yeah, because I mean, what I found is that the people, typically the families that were raised in, I don't know about your family because it sounds like your mom was rather enlightened compared to many moms, but typically the average family or people that you work with are sort of the average consciousness of, our culture, and uh, that consciousness typically doesn't support us going after our soul's purpose. They want us to stay, right in line with whatever the next iPhone is, or whatever the
Right?
next financial or material possession, or body or whatever. Yeah, so absolutely, you need your tribe.
Absolutely. And I was very lucky to have a mother who was doing soul searching on her own, but she wasn't necessarily at the point where she was demonstrating it yet. So
Right,
we were kind of like in this halfway place, right? Like she was
right,
getting there, but still didn't understand her own abilities, and she wasn't looking inside. She was still looking out. And
right,
so I did
right.
the same thing. Um, and yeah, so when everything fell apart,
Mm-hmm.
that was the moment where I realized that I've been going after this all wrong. It was like the moment I surrendered, and I'm a
Yeah,
stubborn person.
yeah,
So surrender took a while on my
yeah.
part, but I realized I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do life, and
Uh-huh.
I looked inside instead of looking outside for help. I went in, and it was an amazing experience. To like really shorten it, I managed to turn having the eviction was a surprise. They came to my door early in the morning and said, you have 6 hours to vacate. Six
Wow,
hours
wow.
and I have a baby and a 3-year old at the time. I turned 6 hours into 6 days by turning inward. I got
Mm-hmm.
really calm,
Mm-hmm.
and I sat until I could hear an answer, and the answers did come. And I kept doing that through the entire process. I kept just sitting and be like, help me now. What do I do now? And I'd sit and wait until this answer would come, and they did. They kept coming, um, to the point where I realized that I what was causing me to be in this pain and be in this lack was I was denying a huge part of myself. And I
Yeah,
was denying what I had come here to do. I came here to be of service to others. And I was supposed to use my intuitive gifts, which were inside, and I was not doing it. And this moment shifted me and got me to get out of my way because I was afraid of being judged. So afraid.
right,
So afraid.
right. Absolutely. Well, there's a lot of opinions in our culture around psychic, intuitive,
The word
mediumship.
psychic, yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
it
go ahead.
it No, well, the word psychic is very polarizing,
Yeah,
right? Because it can have some positive, very powerful connotation, and it also has a lot of slanderous, negative
right.
connotation attached to it.
Right. Well, and so
Yeah.
you talk about on your website how you were in the closet, really, the psychic closet or the mystic
Yes,
closet.
I
So
was.
so when did you come out of your spiritual closet?
Ironically, I came out right before the whole thing fell apart. So it was like a
Oh,
week before
okay.
everything fell apart, I came out. And it was almost like the universe was like, good, now we can get real. Now that
Yeah.
she's acknowledged who she is,
Yeah.
now the work begins. And the first thing was wipe the slate clear,
Yeah.
which can be really rough,
Right.
but that's not the end, it's the beginning.
Absolutely. And so what kind of work were you doing at this point? Like right when got the eviction and all of that?
I was a stay-at-home mom, and I
Hmm.
also am an artist. That's the other thing I do. I'm a
Right.
spiritual artist, and so I was making work and putting it out there, and it was selling. And every once in a while, I would do management work as freelance for people.
Oh, okay.
So it was business management
Okay.
work that I would do.
Cool.
But mostly I was a stay-at-home mom, and
Right.
we were living on a like 1.5 person income, and it was kind of working, kind of not,
Yeah.
obviously not.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Wow. And so I just want to acknowledge you for having the courage to be true to yourself and to really, get the support in the tribe that you knew you needed in place so you could really tap into your own internal wisdom. So now that you've been on the path for several years, let's, if you don't mind, shift a little bit into talking about soul's
Yeah.
purpose. And um,
Yes.
uh, I know that you've got an online school that you teach people a lot of different things, and one of the things that you shared with me was that you use a holistic sort of approach, like it's called holistic intelligence, to tap into
Yes.
your purpose. So, would you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Yes, I would love to, because this whole process came about during this that eviction period, which was amazing. So
Right.
I step out of the closet, the slate gets cleared, and I reach out to a very close soul sister of mine who lives in Australia, by the way. So that's how far I reached out. It was
Yeah.
like all the way to
Wow.
Australia.
Wow.
And there she was. And what we were doing is I knew that I was supposed to channel, but I was afraid to. Never
Right.
done it. Didn't like the idea of something coming through that I wasn't in control of.
Right.
So she offered me space to just play, and we would meet up virtually,
Cool.
so over the phone. And she would hold space for me, and I would practice channeling. She's a healer. We would practice her healing work
Uh
and
huh.
just allow messages to come through. And after this eviction, it was like the messages started coming, and it was like daily. We were going 3 hours with this channeling, and before we knew it, about 40 sessions in, they drop this material on us, and we call it the four intelligences. And it's about how it's interesting because there's no real word for this, so we call it holistic intelligence.
Uh huh.
But they had explained to us that we actually have four centers in the body that send and receive information, and most people just acknowledge the mind
Right.
as a center that sends and receives information. And they made it clear that there are four centers: there's body intelligence, heart or soul intelligence, mind intelligence, and spirit intelligence.
Right.
And when they're all operating together, you're using your holistic intelligence.
Well, that makes complete and total sense. Absolutely. It's like having all cylinders on and operating and firing. So cool. And so how do those inform you of your, in terms of soul's purpose? How do you go
Yes.
about that?
Well, most of the time when people they're looking for soul purpose, they're using the mind, they're using logic
Right.
and rationality to try and figure out what their soul purpose is.
Right.
And the mind is not the center that's connected to soul purpose. The heart is
Yes.
the center that's connected to soul purpose. So many times people are frustrated because they're like using logic, they're collecting information, they're looking at
Right.
their history, and they're not seeing it. because the
Right.
mind is not, it's got a different job. It's the filter for our realities. That's what the mind's job is. The
Right.
heart, however, is where information about soul contracts are stored. And I like to call it our compass that's always pointing at soul purpose. It's, if
Nice.
soul purpose were true north, your heart always points true north.
Oh, cool. So, would you say then that you talked about soul contracts, and one of my questions is, would you say that our soul's purpose is always related to major life lessons or wounds that we're healing or have healed?
I think they're all connected to your
Okay.
soul purpose, but your soul
Okay.
purpose, the best way I could describe it, it's like the sphere, it's the bubble that surrounds you, and everything that you experience lives inside of this bubble, which is soul purpose, and everything is mirroring back to you who you truly are. And it
Okay.
really depends on if you have the eyes to see it, if you are even acknowledging it.
The
So,
acknowledging your soul's purpose, is that what you mean?
well, acknowledging that everything is reflecting something back to you.
Oh, I
For
see. Okay.
example,
Yes.
for example, what you dream about, no matter how big you take your dream is always connected to soul purpose. So if you see yourself, example, Mary, if you see yourself standing on a stage in front of thousands of people giving a TEDx talk, that is
Yes.
definitely connected to soul purpose. That's
Well, how did
absolutely
you
in
know
your
what one
realm.
of how did you know about what one of my visions is? You must be psychic.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Well, and I love also how, well, I know for me personally, I got really stuck when, and I'm a life coach and I've been doing this for a long time, and you can still get really stuck in the
Oh yeah.
mind. And when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do for my soul's purpose or my, my highest calling, I was, my old motto was like, okay, I'm going to research it. I'm going to figure out all the different options that coaches can be and do and have. And,
Yeah.
and yet it never would pan out for me. And it wasn't until I really did a lot of heart-centered work and really trusting my body to give me clues when I would,
Yes.
really like what would bring the highest level of excitement into my body. That's when I figured out, oh, I'm supposed to be doing a talk show, And so, yeah. By the way, I want to acknowledge we've got Danny in the chat room, and he does have a question. So let me just put this out there.
Yeah.
Welcome, Danny. It's so good to see you here. Um, Danny says, I have trouble picking up other people's energies. It seems my second chakra is overly open or question. I'm sensitive. Do you have any offering to dial back my sensitivity or otherwise take in more of only what is truly positive and loving?
Yes, yes. So you're empathic, Danny, obviously. And there's a great joke out there that I love, and it's like, I'm an empath and I have 99 problems and 89 of them are not mine. Right?
That's a good one.
I love it. So, as an empath, you need to focus on energetic protection a little more than the average bear, which means
Hmm.
you have to understand, first of all, cleaning your energy. Okay, we need energy showers, and a great way to clean your energy without you having to do a thing, go for a walk near the ocean or water. If you
Ooh.
have it available to you, it will clean your aura. So salt water cleans the aura. If you don't have the ocean, guess what? You can take salt water into a bathtub and allow that salt water to cleanse your auric field. What that'll do is that's going to help get rid of those energies that aren't yours. And you have to focus in consciously. So your intention is, as I go for this walk or as I take this beautiful bath, I am cleansing my aura of everyone else's energy. So as
Hmm.
soon as you get that nice and clean, you want to, what I call, bubble up. Okay, so let's talk about this energy bubble. This is your protective cocoon that allows you to keep all of your energy in your own little Tupperware container, if you will, and allow other energies to bounce off of it. And the beautiful thing about this energy bubble is that you can program it to accept energy or deflect it. And I actually go through this. I offer a free lesson. It's the first lesson of School for Spirit. It's free to the public, and it talks about how to do this, how to
Cool.
program these bubbles.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, very good. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Actually, he also says he just received his Reiki 2 level attunement, so he just learned about Reiki showers. Will that do it?
I actually don't know much about Reiki. I have not studied
Okay.
it, so I can't confirm or deny that, but I would, it sounds like it would work. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, what's interesting is I've always loved walking or riding my bike at the beach, and I didn't realize that it was related to clearing or cleaning energy, and so that's really good to
Right.
know.
Everybody feels better when they're near the ocean, and nobody like understood why. And for years I didn't know why does that feel so good.
Right,
The salt water purifies our energy center, and that's why we feel like, oh, I can relax, I can decompress when over here, right?
right. So then there's the four levels of intelligence. So that there's the
Yes.
spirit, there's the mind, there's the heart, soul, and there's the body. So let's
Yes.
talk a little bit about the spirit and how it relates to getting you in touch with your soul's purpose.
So the spirit intelligence level is our access point to all the information that ever is, was, or will be. That's
Okay.
the access point. So this is the spirit intelligence is about right here, right above your crown chakra.
Okay.
And if you have you ever seen an image of a torsion field? So the torus field, it kind of looks like a donut if you were looking at it from a bird's eye view.
Okay.
But when you turn it on its side and you're looking at it, imagine a human being in the center, and there's this like donut ring of energy going around, but it
Okay.
also comes down, okay? It comes down and through
Okay.
our body. That's where spirit intelligence, that's our access point. All information that we ever want to access comes, if we recognize it and allow it, comes right in through here and moves through those other points and into the body.
Okay.
Now, interesting. So, with that just spirit alone, you might not have conscious awareness of it happening if you're not using the mind. You might not feel it if you're not using the body and the heart. So,
Okay.
it's that point is but one of four. So,
Right.
what we try to do over at Spirit for Success is we get people to use all four. That means you need to create a relationship, an understanding, and a feeling in your body about where these four centers are. So the body is really what's responsible for us retaining information.
Okay.
Body holds that information.
Cool.
Right. And the heart is really where I would focus as I'm learning about my soul purpose. I'd focus in, like you said, doing a talk show felt good to you.
Right. Right. Yeah, doing a talk show felt really good to me, and then but
Right.
like having a huge coaching practice didn't. You know what I mean? And
There you go.
it was like, and it's not because I don't love helping people. I just knew that sort of like I like to use that metaphor of my purpose is like a melody of a song, and I can play it on these different instruments. And so the
Hmm.
instrument that I like to play this melody on is talk show or
There you
possibly
go.
speaking. But the instrument of having, 20 or 30 clients just isn't it. I feel like I can honor my spirit and my essence and my talents better in this genre.
Well, let me talk about it like this. So maybe when you look at you working with 20 to 40 clients right there, does your energy feel like it is centered, or does it feel like it starts to spread out and thin out for you?
It's spread out and thin out.
Right, so you start to feel an energy depletion when you think
Right.
about that.
Right.
So does it create a feeling of kind of like your body almost reacts like it starts to drag? It's like, oh, that's heavy.
Because there's a sense of I feel like if I can get when I get my message out there through the show or through speaking or other means, that my focus is inspiring and uplifting and bringing other inspirational guests and and that sort of thing, where if a person wants ongoing support, that they can reach out to some of my guests for that. But my goal really is to be the uplifter and inspirer, but not necessarily the one-on-one coach. Does that make sense?
No, it does. So what I wanted to do is now let's flip it and look at the talk show. And when you feel your energy, does it feel like it's almost compressing and getting stronger as you think about talk show?
Oh yeah, definitely
Oh,
stronger.
so this is body intelligence we're talking right
Yeah,
now. So the feeling of weakness or strength is
right.
one of the ways that the body will confirm for you. When you think about it with your heart, the heart is very, a lot of people want the heart to give these long drawn out reasons, and the heart doesn't reason. The heart does not reason. That's the mind. The
Right,
heart goes, that feels good. Talk show feels good. And that doesn't. Being pulled in too many directions does not feel good.
right, right.
That's all it will say. So,
Well, yeah, I mean, and the thing though, and this is, and I'm just in this trusting process right now, actually. The the
yeah,
the thing with the talk show is like, the thing with coaching clients is there's obviously immediate income with that. You know what I mean?
right,
With the
right.
talk show, in order to, so it's like, so how's that going to make money? And, and typically there's, traditional ways in terms of advertising, but you need to get a lot of people to watch it for people to pay for advertising, blah, 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 blah. And
Right.
so, I'm in a position right now where I'm trusting that whatever is supposed to be revealed to me will around the
Yes.
income. I'm in a position where I'm okay because, I've saved money and stuff like that. And I
Right.
want to come from a really pure place around this show and my purpose. I'm not willing to settle. So I'm
Yeah.
just kind of, I mean, I don't know if you have any psychic hits or anything for
Oh,
me.
I do. So first of all, notice that heart intelligence or the heart and soul purpose doesn't give a damn about if money is connected to it or not.
Yes,
That's
yes,
the first thing. It'll say it feels good no matter what. Now, here's the thing: trust and the mind and what we've been told and how we believe we need to function. All of that can get in the way and
right.
interrupt, but your soul purpose will ultimately take care of you. Now, does
Yes,
this mean that you should just be like, "No, I don't need to work. I don't need money." Obviously, you need you need that security and that foundation.
right,
My point is that soul purpose will keep sustaining you. You'll keep getting the money from other resources, even if
right,
it means you do side work or whatever.
right.
That will keep flowing to you as you move into soul purpose. I mean, Elizabeth Gilbert talks about it a little bit in her book, Big Magic.
Yes.
Um,
I love
Now, the
her.
thing about it, I do too. She's fantastic. But the thing about soul purpose that so many people get maybe turned around in is that as soon as I go and do my soul purpose, money will come flooding to me and it'll be so
Right,
easy.
right.
That is not true. That is
Okay.
not true. And the reason why is there's some, I'm about to swear. I usually swear sometimes, so I'm trying to
That's okay.
keep
Just
it in.
be yourself. Be yourself. That's
All right.
fine.
So there's shit.
Yeah.
That's the word. There's shit that comes with all the beautiful stuff. And the beautiful stuff grows from shit, okay? Flowers grow from manure, right? And
Right,
the manure
right,
makes the flowers better.
right,
So every beautiful soul purpose out there has what Elizabeth Gilbert calls the shit sandwich.
right,
And if it is truly in alignment with you, if doing the talk show is truly in alignment with you, that flavor of shit sandwich is going to taste way better than the flavor of a multi-level marketer or a CEO of a company or a
right,
person who coaches 50,000 people.
right,
This one will be the most appetizing out of all the pain and
right,
everything comes with pain. You
right,
can't avoid it.
right,
So if you can kind of make peace with that,
right.
all of us, when we all make peace with that, like for instance, some of the pain that comes with being a psychic is that people want to test you. They want to call you a
Oh,
fraud.
right, right.
They want you to prove it on the spot. Prove it right now on the
Yeah,
spot.
exactly.
Um, you will get asked to do readings at the most inappropriate time, no matter what your own emotional state is.
Yeah,
Everyone thinks that they deserve the answers from you just
right,
because you're present.
right. I mean, I've already done that to you.
Oh, no. I'm not commenting on
No,
that.
no,
That's not
no.
what I mean.
But no, but I understand. It's like being a doctor or something. It's like, well, could you tell me what this ache is
Yeah.
about? Yeah.
what's this on my
Yeah,
arm? Right,
yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
But that's the shit sandwich. And the thing is, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
And there's a part of me that when someone asks me for my help, immediately wants to be of service.
right,
Right. And that my thing, so the thing that I have to learn, part of my shit sandwich is just learning my own boundaries. Like
right,
where is it crossing my own self-care lines?
right.
Which is part of
Exactly.
what I have to learn. Right.
Exactly. I love that. Well, and
Yeah.
and I love that that you really speak to the illusion of the panacea. I believe that in our culture, we're the marketing engine of our
Oh
traditional
yeah.
culture knows that we all want it quick, easy, and sexy, or whatever, right?
Right.
And it's like,
Yes.
so if we can tell you it's going to be quick, easy, and you're going to look really good doing it or having it, we're going to say that
Yes.
even though it's not true. And
Right.
so, but the reality is that there is the good, the bad, and the ugly, and no matter what you do, but if you're doing what you love, at least you have what you love on, and there's the stuff that you don't love,
Yeah.
but at least you have what you love. And so thank you for
Absolutely.
just being really honest about that
Yeah.
and sharing what,
We
oh,
need, well, we
yeah,
need that. And I would take this pain. I would take the pain of people testing and judging me on this over the pain of not having it, because that was
right,
painful. Not
right,
being in part, not being in alignment with who I really am and being
right,
willing to put that out there was way more painful than having to deal
yes,
with the rejection and the suspicion and the, you're
right,
crazy.
right,
Right.
exactly. Well, yeah, that's exactly how I feel as well. Because
Right.
a huge breakthrough that I've had in the past 5 to 10 years is was that I got clear that I was really raised to believe that I should be helping everybody else first, and so it
Right.
trained me to not even really focus on who I was and what my purpose was, and then I wondered why I could really not I couldn't get in touch with that, and then anyway, lo and behold, here I am in my 50s and really going for it and recognizing when you're not being true to who you really are, it's like a piece of your soul dies every time you deny it. And so,
Yeah. Right.
yeah, yeah,
Well, it's, the beauty of it is that I wouldn't say it dies, but what happens is your heart gets smaller and harder. It's kind of like
yes,
the Grinch, right? The Grinch,
yeah,
remember
that's
the
true.
Grinch?
Yes,
And how he is like, he's actually a great example of kind of soul purpose and denial. Actually, in the
right,
beginning, he's very
right,
tight and closed off and closed down.
right.
The beauty of it is that you can free your heart and you can open back up at any time. There's never a moment where it's too late.
So then, like, what are like you're talking about? I guess what I'd like for my viewers and my sense of the viewers that are out there, like maybe some examples of some exercises that you recommend to help them get in. Like, let's say I'm a person that says, I really just don't even know what it is. I'm working in an office job that I hate. It's paying my bills. I'm not really
Yes.
sure how. I'm not even. I like this personal growth stuff, but I really don't know what my purpose is. So, what would you recommend to someone like that?
Mm. Oh, there's so many ideas. Okay, for those who like to make lists and write, and I honestly, even if you don't, you should do this because it's really powerful. It will give you something to look at, and that is helpful. Many times with soul purpose, it feels nebulous. We have nothing to hold on to or look
Right,
at.
right.
So, this first exercise is something I would recommend doing, even if you hate writing, and it's listing. Okay, so first of all, you list everything you can think of that you love, every TV show, every
Yes,
color, every word, every you know I don't care, crystal, like I'm trying to think of
yes,
examples of what I did. I would write people, like celebrities, like when you told
yes.
me I look like Kate Winslet, she's on my list, so I'm like, check that one.
Yeah.
I love that. um
Or the
so
mentors.
I would
You like writing down your mentors. Those are great
Marianne
clues.
Williamson, right? At
Yeah.
every moment, try, and this list should be huge. You could go back to every moment in your life that sticks out in your head. Write that down. What was that?
Right.
Every store you like, even the cereal you like has something to tell you.
Right.
After you brain dump this list, and it might take a few days, and that's
Right.
okay. You might look, start by looking around, like your bedroom, for example. Look around
Okay.
the room and be like, oh God, I love Buddha. I love Buddha head statues. Got to write that down. I love the color pink. I love,
Right.
this, that, and the other thing. Get this list generating. Then step away from it, like for 24 hours, and come back with fresh eyes, read the list, and see if there's things that you see that are in common. You'll start to see that there are
Right.
people on that list that
The
remind,
connections.
they
Yes.
have this, some of the same traits. Write those traits down. If they're elegant or funny or intelligent, or if you see the color pink and you see feathers and then you see velvet, you like things in common are soft.
Right.
Right now, these, again, it feels very esoteric and like, that's Therese, that still doesn't tell me what my soul purpose is.
Right.
You have to keep going in there and kind of condensing it down, seeing what the qualities are. You're going to
Right.
come down to this list, and here's the thing, the list describes you.
Yeah.
The list describes you. And as you start to see that, you're going to realize that, wow, I'm a really warm, caring, soft, intelligent individual. And those qualities will start to show. You'll see that there are things about those that work together. Like,
Right.
I'm a good listener.
Right.
I'm good at holding space for people.
Right.
I like to bring light into people's lives. Like, I had to do this for myself in the beginning because I didn't know how to describe what I do.
Right.
The words that we pull together, transformational coach,
Right.
light language interpreter, all that stuff, we actually had to think about it and pull the things together.
Right.
Right behind me is a piece of art, and one of the things about it is there's butterflies all over it, and butterflies show up everywhere, and I'm very attracted to butterflies. Butterflies are about transformation,
Yep.
right? And
Yep.
I'm very excited about stories about transformation. So I know part of my soul purpose is to transform
Right.
and help others learn how to transform.
Yes. Yes, me too. Totally.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
and what's interesting is that even though we have a very similar purpose, the instrument you're playing it on is different based
Oh
on
yeah.
who you are. And that's what's
Absolutely.
so beautiful about it is I play it on talk show, you play it on teaching other people like through your Spirit for Success school and the different individuals readings and the art that you do. So
Yeah.
that's what's cool is I think for me, I knew at least 25 years ago that my purpose has always been about transformation, personal growth and transformation. For me, the hard part was on where do I want to play that? Like what instrument do I want to play that on? What would be really fun for me? What am I really good at? And so, yeah, cool.
I
And
got to tell you,
yeah,
I don't want to interrupt, but one of
no,
the things that people might need to hear
yes,
is your discovery of your soul purpose might feel very underwhelming. And I just want to prepare you for that, because I was expecting it to be like this big moment. Like, I was going to be like, oh
right,
my God, this is it. And it was like, wait, that? But I do what? That's like so me every day, all the time. And
right.
that's what it is. It's
It's
been
just
with
like who,
you.
yeah, it's your essence, kind of.
It's the whole time you've been here. You've been surrounded by it, and all, you can't help but exude it. You've just
Yeah.
been in either denial of it, or you just weren't looking.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's exactly what happened with me. I mean, it's sort of like I'm always interviewing people all the time, even when I'm not doing my talk show. And
Yeah.
I'm just a naturally curious person, and I'm really interested in finding out about people and how they work and what gets them excited about life. And so it's like following you around, and it's like, oh, I guess I should be doing this for a living. And the thing that I think got me stuck was unless I could see the end point of how I could earn a living at it, I would like just throw it out
Right.
versus versus recognizing I don't need to I just need to know the next step. I don't need and
Yes.
that's something that I just recently learned because or embraced. I mean, before I would not take on projects unless I could see step A all the way through the end. And now it's
Right.
like falling in love with the unknown, which is uncomfortable, but but
Ooh, so good though.
so much better. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, and it actually reminds me of the other exercise I would give. Now, this one might be a little scarier for especially people who want control,
Right.
but it's a good one.
Okay.
It is a really good one for activating you listening to your heart intelligence.
Okay, good.
And what I would suggest is for one day, you wake up and you ask yourself, the first question you should ask yourself is, what would feel good next? And then you do that thing. And then after that thing's done, you go, okay, what would feel good now?
Wow.
And then you do that thing. And you just spend the entire day like checking in, what would feel good? And you do, and you follow through. Because listen, if the heart responds and then you deny it,
Yeah.
I mean, the heart might pout for a second and be like, well, you're not going to listen. So
Right, right.
I'm not
I
going
love
to talk
that.
to you right now
So just totally honor your heart for an entire day.
for an entire day.
So, like,
Yeah.
clear your calendar, just tell everybody that you normally might be, you know,
Pick a
responsible
day
for.
off, right? Our day off is the easiest day to do it. So
Yeah,
on your day
exactly.
off,
Yeah.
you're going to give yourself permission that at every moment,
Yes.
what would feel good right now? And if all you get is, I just want to lay here and watch Netflix, you do that until it stops feeling good.
Right. Absolutely. And this brings up a really good point. One time I was listening to my Cheryl Richardson, The Art of Extreme Self-Care audio program, and she said something that really, really helped me when I was struggling to get clarity, like of exactly how I wanted to play out my purpose. And she said, a lot of my clients that really are struggling with getting clear on their purpose, a lot of times it's because there's layers of clutter or emotional clutter or issues that need to get handled first. So,
Yes.
like, in other words, if you're in a relationship that is not supportive or that is not the right relationship, a lot of times things like that need to get handled. Or if you're, any kind of emotional stuff that's keeping you from really even accessing your feelings, if you're in any kind of active addiction, whatever it might be, you need to get into handling those things because for me, I wanted to go directly from where I was to clarity on my purpose, but I didn't realize that I
Right.
needed to clean up these little areas of my life first. Does that make
Oh,
sense?
yeah. Oh, it totally makes sense. And here's the thing. I mean, addictions, what we're doing there is we're trying to numb out the pain.
Right,
And the thing is, the beauty of self-purpose and how it is so healing is it
right.
forces you to be in the pain first. I
Yes,
had to get evicted, guys. I mean, it
yes.
sucked.
Yeah,
It sucked,
totally.
and it brought a whole bunch of stuff to the surface. It was like, hey, deal with this fear, deal with this behavior,
Right,
with this pattern.
right.
But
Exactly.
I didn't stay there, and you won't stay. Our fear of being uncomfortable is
Right,
one of the most crippling fears that we have,
right,
because our fear around discomfort is this will be forever.
right,
And the truth is, when you let yourself be uncomfortable, it's more like 15 minutes to maybe a couple of days,
right.
really and truly. It is not the lifetime that we fear it will be. No.
Exactly. Well, and what I found too is that if if we don't have that support system in place,
Right.
it's really difficult to do it, especially if you have
Yeah.
unsupportive partners or family members. So you really
Right.
do need to get yourself into a supportive environment,
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
it's
Absolutely.
yeah, it's very, very difficult. And so as far as you also have actually accessing like the cosmic and the astrological aspects
Oh,
of
yeah.
purpose. So talk about that a little bit if you don't mind.
So we actually, our business, Spirit, the number four success, and the four represents the four intelligences.
Okay.
We have a couple different things that we do over there. There's actually like three main veins of our business, and one of them is a transformation technique that's done by my partner, Rach Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
There is my intuition school, which is School for Spirit, which talks about tapping in and activating your intuition. And then in the middle, we have our membership area, and this is where we do master classes about all the topics that are actually being channeled because
Mm-hmm.
Rach and I still channel with our team. We call it
Oh,
our
cool.
team in spirit.
Cool.
And in that membership area, we do something called spirit circles. And this is where we work with the lunar energy. So we work with the new moon and the full moon.
Okay.
And the reason why is because when you're working with your soul purpose, it can be scary.
Yeah.
It can feel hard, but it doesn't have to be. And one of the things I noticed is as soon as I started aligning to the natural cycles of nature,
Mm-hmm.
of the moon, of the cosmos, you can realize that with a new moon, for example, you're calling in what you want to manifest. That's a time where the energy for manifesting is very
Okay.
strong. But with a full moon, it's all about letting go. What
Okay.
is it I've learned about myself that I'd like to let go? What old pattern doesn't serve me anymore that I can
Right.
let go now? And so when you use this lunar energy, what you're doing is you're getting in tune with nature and you're
Yes.
moving into the flow.
I love
And it
that.
makes doing this work so much easier because you're
Right.
not trying to go grab and get all the time.
Right.
You're not focusing on that all the time. Sometimes you're like, okay, I surrender, I let it go. I
Right.
don't need to do this anymore. Help me, nature, help me, God, universe,
Right.
whoever you want to ask. You're getting in tune with the energy of how it's working. And when we do the spirit circles, we're also looking at the astrology at the time so we can see what cosmic forces are happening right now. Like, for
Right.
example, everybody knows Mercury retrograde is a hard time to communicate. So it's
Right.
good to know when it's happening. And what it does is it causes you to be more conscious
Right.
in your communications.
Absolutely. That's so cool.
Yes.
Um, so you were mentioning earlier in the show how you just sat until you got the clarity of what your purpose was. I wanted to ask you, was that sort of like a mindfulness meditation, or like when you say you sat, was that what did you
It
mean
was
by
a
that?
in that particular moment, it was a combination of oh fuck, like
Uh-huh.
it was a combination of surrender, praying, and meditating. And really, what I had to do was stop the mind spinning.
Right.
And you know, the thing is, when you really need the answer, you will start to really try to listen. And
Right.
I can't quite clarify it any more than that, but I waited and I waited until my mind shut up so that I could hear call the lawyer, call the lawyer's office, call just that's all I heard in the first moment of that big oh my god
The eviction?
meditation. Yeah. When
Okay.
I went and because my husband, what happened was, we had police officers at our door. They bring the police, which is
Right.
terrifying. It's simply terrifying. So my husband's running around the house looking at all the furniture that we're going to have to apparently just leave because we've got 6 hours to vacate.
Right. Right.
And he's panicking. And I went into this place, like, I just felt, go sit down and be quiet. And that was, you know, every other part of my body wanted to panic too. And yet that voice for me was the loudest voice. Thank God it was. Because as soon as I sat down and I disconnected
Right.
a little bit, I had to like leave that situation behind. I had to leave belief about it behind to hear
Right.
in that moment what I needed to do. And it took 20 minutes for me, which, that might be considerably short. And
Right.
if you haven't meditated before, and if you haven't tried to connect to your higher self, it might take you longer. So please don't compare,
Right.
because I had done a lot of, meditation and channeling before that
Right.
happened. Um, but the answer does come. And the answer is sometimes very simple, and you don't get a lot of information. Nobody was sitting there saying, okay, Therese, we're here. It's going to work out. It's going to be fine. 2 years from now, you'll be totally okay. Nothing like that. All I heard was call the lawyer's office
Just
next.
whatever
Call
the
the
next
lawyer's
step was.
office.
Yeah. That's
Exactly.
really
And
that's
so,
really good.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And after I did it, then I went and I went, okay, I did that. What do I do now? And then I just wait, it's like follow the steps, follow whatever
That's
that meant.
really cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I think
yeah.
giving a lot of people do think they're going to get this major epiphany or this sort of download.
Not that, not
Yeah.
that I know.
And what I'm hearing is that you've gotten quiet, you've let your thoughts calm down, you've trusted your internal the voice that is the wise voice within you, and
Right.
you've done that for each individual step. It wasn't like this major download in one, the yeah.
I
So
think
that's
that
really
first
good
of
to
all,
know.
you have to create emotional detachment to hear the higher self. The higher self does not speak through emotions. That's different. The ego is more related to emotional energy.
Right, right.
You know, the
That's a good
higher
point.
self, you have to be in a calm and detached space. And I know that can be very difficult when you're going through drama or trauma
Right,
to emotionally detach. And it
right,
doesn't mean that you don't care anymore. It just simply means that your belief in your safety is stronger than your belief in the drama.
right. Very cool.
Yeah.
So we're just about at the top of the hour here, so I do need to kind of wrap up. One of the questions I do love to ask is like, what message are you most passionate about that you want to leave with the audience tonight?
There's so many. Okay, Therese, focus. Focus in. What I'd like people to know, especially around soul purpose, is that you do not dream outside of your soul purpose. You do not dream outside of your destiny, if that's another word for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, no matter how big, no matter how fantastic or out there your dreams, you will not be outside of your actual potential. You'll always be inside of it. Listen, I dream about being as great as Marianne Williamson someday, right? She's one of my personal hero
Absolutely.
mentor people. So the fact that I can see that in my mind and envision where that would take me means I have the ability to do that. I do
Right,
not dream about building a rocket ship for NASA. I'm never going to do it. And you know what? No part of me is like sad about that. It's like,
right,
fine.
right,
But if you were to tell me that I would never be able to do that, there's a part of me that would feel pain. So that lets you know if you feel an emotional attachment, either positive or negative,
right.
that's attached to soul purpose.
Oh,
If you
that's
feel
really
nothing,
good. Yeah.
there's nothing there. It's not
Oh,
yours. Don't worry about it, right?
oh, that's so good. Thank you so much. That's really helpful. The emotional, if it has an emotional charge for you. Awesome.
Right.
And let's find out how we can, our viewers can work with you. What are the different things you offer and how can they get a hold of you?
Yes. Well, the best way to see what I'm working on and how to get in touch with me is going to spirit, the number four, success.com.
Okay.
And that will show you all of our different programs, including School for Spirit, which is where I teach the more intuitive, mystical arts
Mm-hmm.
that so many people are interested in, and me too.
Cool. So spirit for
Success.
success.com.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
And do you do individual work as well, or all of that's there on the site, right?
I do. Yes, there's a work with us page that'll drop
Okay.
down, and you can see what psychic sessions. I do psychic sessions. I am a
Okay.
medium as well, so I do talk to people on the other side,
Great.
and I do sessions like that. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, Therese, this has been so fun. I'm just really just had been so enjoying your energy and that, you're a woman that's been following your heart, being true to yourself and empowering other people to do the same. So you're my kind of person.
Yes.
I really, really am happy that you've been here and that you're inspiring and helping so many other people do the same thing. So with that, let's keep in touch, and I'm sure I'd love to have you back at some point. And so let's say goodbye to Trees.
Bye. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome. All right, Trees Tucker, that was awesome. Thank you so much, Trees. And be sure to go to her site, spiritforsuccess.com, and get the support you need, because that's the whole purpose of this show is providing supportive environments for you to be successful in. So, if you're really struggling with your soul's purpose, go to Trees, her site, and find out what programs she can offer to help you with that. Okay, so I've got a couple of announcements, and we're going to wrap up for the night. I always do a coaching challenge every single week, and since this week we are talking about really discovering and aligning with your soul's purpose, my challenge for you is to really tap into one action that you can take to help you get clearer or clear on what your next step is. And even if you have no clue about what your soul's purpose is, make the action step about getting clear, getting support to get clear. Go to Teresa's site or go to, just take a step toward getting clear if you're not clear. But if you do have a sense of what it is, then write, like Therese said, writing down all the things that you love will get you in touch with a theme or a pattern, and write it down and make sure you'll make sure you do it. The other thing I always wanted to mention as well is I am a coach and I work with just a few individual coaching clients. So I've got live stream and webinar coaching. So if you would like to reach a global audience and don't feel like you have the technical skills or the equipment to do it, you don't need to worry about it, because I can actually help you produce your event from a remote location. So let's say I'm here in Southern California and you're in Florida, I can actually help produce your event even though you're not even in my location, and I can bring in people from other locations. So it's a virtual world these days, and live streaming and webinar support is available, and I'd be glad to help you with that. Just go up to my website, marygiuliani.net, to the streaming and webinar services. And if you would like help in finding your highest calling or your soul's purpose, I do the kind of coaching where I work with women in midlife that are really at a place where they're not willing to die with their music still in them. So if you're a person that really has a burning desire to get your work out there, even if you don't know what it is, I can support you in getting clear and getting into action and actually moving through the steps that you need to move through to get there. So if you would like some help with that, I am living my dream and I would love to help you live yours. Go up to my website and go to marygiuliani.net and go to the coaching tab. And for both live stream, webinar, or life purpose coaching, I do offer the first session for free. So take me up on it. I'd love to chat with you about that. And let's see, the last thing I always like to say is, what is one thing that you will do that you can do to be true to yourselves? Put it on your calendar so you make sure you do it, and then you get to watch your life transform. So have a great week, everybody.